She kept saying it was an accident. She insisted it was a joke. She said no harm was intended. But then police looked closer, listened longer, and noticed something that didn't add up. And once they did, everything changed. How does a normal day at home turn into a child abuse arrest? Why would a mother believe police wouldn't take her seriously? And what detail made investigators stop accepting the word accident altogether? This case began quietly, inside a family home in St. Petersburg, Florida. No neighbors called 911, no sirens arrived that day. What happened didn't come to light through emergency services, but through a conversation at school, one that raised alarms strong enough to bring law enforcement into a family's private life. According to police records, the incident occurred on July 20th, 2024. A woman later identified as 40-year-old Jacqueline Joshinsky was at home with her 3 children. The family was reportedly spending the day organizing a media room, putting up picture frames, shelves, and books. By all outward appearances, it was an ordinary afternoon. But according to investigators, that normal moment took a sudden and troubling turn. Court documents state that during the activity, Jacqueline allegedly made an inappropriate comment to her 12-year-old daughter. Investigators say the remark was followed by an action involving a power tool that resulted in a physical injury to the child. The girl later told authorities the incident caused pain and left a visible mark. At the time, no police were called. No report was filed that day. Life appeared to continue as normal. But days later, the child spoke to a teacher. According to the incident report, the 12-year-old disclosed what had happened at home. Teachers are mandatory reporters, and once the allegation was made, authorities were notified. Detectives began looking into the situation, interviewing the child and reviewing the details carefully. The child told investigators that while pictures were being hung, a power drill was involved. She described how contact was made with her body and said the injury was still visible days later. Medical or visual confirmation of the mark was documented in police records, though authorities avoided graphic description. Investigators noted that the child said she experienced pain and bleeding. She also described feeling scared and confused by what happened. At this point, police had a serious allegation involving a minor, a power tool, and a parent. That was enough to move forward. Within a week, officers went to speak with Jacqueline. Body camera footage shows Jacqueline appearing calm and cooperative when officers made contact. She seemed surprised by the arrest and repeatedly stated she did not understand why she was being taken into custody. Officers informed her she was being arrested on suspicion of child abuse. She was read her Miranda rights and agreed to speak with investigators. Almost immediately, Jacqueline framed the incident as a misunderstanding. She told officers the event was meant as a joke and that she did not intend to hurt her daughter. She emphasized that it was an accident and that she believed the situation had been blown out of proportion. But detectives didn't rely on her explanation alone. They had already spoken with the child. According to police reports, the child's account differed in key ways. Investigators say the description of the incident was painful, frightening, and non-consensual. She said she did not see it as a joke and was hurt both physically and emotionally. What made investigators pause was not just the injury itself, but the surrounding context. During interviews, officers asked all 3 children if they felt safe at home. One child reportedly answered that sometimes they did, unless their mother was angry. According to court records, that response raised additional concerns. Investigators then asked about discipline in the home. Jacqueline acknowledged using physical discipline, stating it was how she herself had been raised. She told officers she believed discipline was meant to teach, not harm, and denied acting out of anger. These statements were documented but not accepted at face value. From an investigative standpoint, officers had to consider the totality of circumstances. This was not only about a single incident, but about patterns, intent, and the safety of the children. Jacqueline continued to insist the injury was accidental. She stated she did not realize a screw was attached to the drill and claimed the contact was brief and unintended. She also told officers she later attempted to demonstrate that she meant no harm by showing the action on herself. Investigators did not treat that explanation as justification. Police reports note that the injury to the child remained visible days later. Officers also documented that the child reported bleeding and pain. That physical evidence, combined with the child's statement and the inappropriate comment alleged to have been made, weighed heavily in the decision to arrest. This is where the narrative Jacqueline believed would protect her began to fall apart. She expressed shock that she was being arrested, repeatedly stating she was remorseful. She told officers she was devastated and never meant for things to escalate. But remorse alone does not negate potential criminal conduct. From the prosecution's perspective, the key issue was not whether Jacqueline said she was sorry, it was whether a reasonable person would view the act as acceptable, accidental, or harmful when involving a minor. The defense, based on statements made at the time, would later frame the case as a misunderstanding taken out of context. They pointed to her cooperation with police and her insistence that she never intended injury. But intent is not the only factor under child abuse statutes. Under Florida law, causing physical injury to a child through inappropriate conduct can meet the threshold for criminal charges, even if the accused claims it was a joke or accident. After her arrest, Jacqueline was booked and later released on a $25,000 bond. Court documents show that the case moved through the legal system quietly after that, without a public trial. According to available records, the case was eventually closed. No detailed public explanation was provided regarding the final resolution, and no additional charges were listed beyond the initial arrest documentation. That outcome, however, doesn't erase the questions this case raised. Why did Jacqueline believe police would see it her way? Why did she continue to insist it was a joke, even as investigators documented a visible injury? And why did officers decide that her explanation wasn't enough? The answer lies in how the justice system evaluates credibility, especially when children are involved. Investigators are trained to look beyond emotional explanations and examine evidence, consistency, and risk. In this case, police weighed the child's statement, physical documentation, and household dynamics together. When viewed as a whole, the story Jacqueline told did not outweigh the concerns raised by her daughter's account. This wasn't just about one moment, it was about trust, safety, and responsibility. Silence in the interview room, the officer's measured tone, and Jacqueline's visible disbelief all underscore a reality many defendants face. What feels like a private family issue can quickly become a public legal matter when a child's welfare is involved. In the end, this case wasn't just about whether something was an accident. It revealed how jokes stop being jokes when harm occurs, how explanations lose power when evidence contradicts them, and how the justice system prioritizes protection over intention. Do you think justice was truly served here? What moment in this case shocked you the most in the courtroom? Like, comment, and subscribe for more educational breakdowns of real court cases and the legal principles behind them. All information in this video is sourced from publicly available court records, police reports, and reputable news outlets. This content is presented for educational and documentary purposes only. Allegations discussed reflect official legal proceedings and do not represent personal conclusions.